This is a family matter. Why are you calling the police? Lana isn't even 18 yet. Calling the police won't do anything. I braced myself against the wall and stood up, looking at him in utter disappointment. The one who died is your son, and you still won't do anything? When he saw the blood on my forehead, a flicker of guilt crossed his eyes. Nina, we can have another child, but I only have one niece. What a good man. So devoted to his family. Back then, that was exactly what I had liked about him. He was filial. He treated his family well. I never imagined that same quality would become the blade pointed at me. He had never once seen my son and me as his real family. In his heart, only his own blood relatives mattered. Even his niece mattered more than his biological son. I turned to go downstairs, but my sister-in-law rushed over and shouldered past me. She threw herself toward Lana and wrapped her arms around her, furious. What gives you the right to hit my daughter? I can't even bear to hit her myself. Who do you think you are? I was shaking with rage. Why don't you ask what your daughter did? Your son died, and now you're blaming my daughter? If you want to blame someone, blame your son for being unlucky. I hated them so much. But right now, all I could think about was the baby who had just fallen from upstairs. Who was he? How had he ended up in my mother-in-law's house? Ariel, you have a child too. If the one who died today had been your child, would you still be able to say that? My sister-in-law's pupils shrank. She pointed at me and cursed. You shameless lunatic. Your son died, so now you're cursing my family, aren't you? If you ask me, your son deserved to die. Good riddance. I grabbed my phone with its shattered screen and headed straight downstairs. My mother-in-law shouted anxiously, Stop her! She's going to call the police. My sister-in-law sneered. So what if she does? Our Lana won't go to prison anyway. Are you stupid? If she calls the police and sues us, we'll have to pay compensation. Ariel suddenly understood, and the disgust on her face deepened. David, look at the wife you married. Her own son is dead, and she still has the energy to scheme against us. My husband chased after me, his face dark with anger. But I had already sent a text to my parents telling them to call the police. He lunged forward to snatch my phone. When he saw the message I had sent, he was so furious that he slapped me across the face. I told you this is a family matter. Why do you insist on calling the police? My brother's family isn't well off to begin with. Are you trying to extort them? How did I never realize you were this vicious? I clutched my chest and let out a hopeless laugh. Yes, I was vicious. I hated them so much I wished their whole family would die. Without saying a word, I kept walking downstairs. I needed to know who that baby was. A vague answer had already formed in my heart, but I didn't dare believe it. When I ignored him, David panicked and followed me downstairs. Just as I was about to step outside, he grabbed my shoulders tightly. Nina, stop making a scene, okay? I already checked Leo. He's gone. Let's bury him and pretend none of this ever happened, all right? I pushed him away without expression, but in the next second my pupils shrank. The spot where the baby had been lying was now empty. I grabbed David by the collar and demanded, Where is the baby? What did you do with him? Police sirens sounded outside the courtyard. 2 officers walked in and asked, Who called the police? David clamped a hand over my mouth and forced out a smile. Officers, my wife made a mistake. No one called the police. My mother-in-law and Ariel hurried downstairs too. My mother-in-law pointed at me and snapped, She's crazy. It was just an argument between husband and wife, but she wants to call the police over every little family issue. The officers looked doubtful, but they seemed to think it was just a domestic dispute. They took a brief statement and left. Only after the police were completely gone